Oh, I love it. I love it. Can I take this out? Is that okay? And I don't want to break it because then they won't ask me back. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. Oh, man, what a way to start. You know, it's true, Beth. Interesting. My middle name is Wayne. Do you know any other Bruce Waynes? So my grandkids like to tell their friends, hey, do you know my papa's Batman? And not only that, when I go through TSA, I'll get the double look. And then when I go to a hotel, like this hotel, and I check in, and they want to see my driver's license, I've had many times where the hotel person will look at it, they'll look at it again, look at it again. Thank you, Batman. Names are important, aren't they? But how many of us know our middle name? I want you to just turn to the person next to you, say, Happy New Year, my middle name is this. Go. I love it. I love it. One thing that you're going to, hopefully one thing you're going to get today is every time I go to a meeting or a conference or an event, I think people want two things every single time they go to a meeting. Tell me if you want this today. Number one, I want an idea. Bruce, can you just bring me one idea that I can take back to my team so we can be better? Who wants an idea? Yeah, we all want ideas. The second thing is we want connection, don't we? We want to meet somebody. We want to learn about somebody. A lot of times we want to learn from them, or sometimes we just want to validate, like, hey, I'm in that lane too. Isn't that the truth? Interesting, when Beth and Shasta, when y'all called me to speak today and told me that this was an association for associations, community bringing community, I was like, I'm in on that deal. Because I've been a part of the association my entire career. In fact, the associations that I've been a part of have literally changed the trajectory of my career. And the reason why I want to tell you that today is because you are doing significant work. And a lot of times you don't really think about that because we go and we attend a meeting and then we become a volunteer and then we start doing work and more work and more work and more work, and we forget what it was like when we first came to the meeting, don't we? You know, whether we're with a convention center group or we're with an association. I've met some amazing people here today. I've learned so much, and so I'm looking forward to today. Just kind of a couple of things. Number one, I wanted to mention that everybody in that video that you saw today they've been a guest on my podcast, Life in the Leadership Lane. And what happened was years ago, I say years ago, when we had this pandemic, I'm in relocation. And we move talent across the country. And when the pandemic came, corporations, they weren't moving people. They became in survival mode. And so I decided, hey, I've got to figure out how do I I heard somebody earlier say the word adapt. I got to adapt. I got to pivot here. If I'm going to stay connected, I got to do something. Coffee shops are closed. Nobody wants to talk about relocation. So I'm going to start a podcast. And so I started that podcast April of 2020. And I just released episode 251. So it's now been going off. I just started season 7. And what I do is I just interview what I call high performers in the workplace. And I have grown so much for that. So today we're going to talk a little bit about change. We're going to talk about pivoting. A lot of times when we find our lane, something happens to where we got to change lanes and find our lane again. And so, but just to go back, my parents owned bowling centers. So Beth mentioned that about my perfect games. Yes, I used to bowl all across the country. I thought I was going to become a professional bowler. I thought, and all my brothers and sisters thought I was going to be the guy that ran the bowling alley. And so I bowled any bowlers in the house. Raise your hand. Come on. Oh, she's proud. Did you see that hand? Like, boom. I'm a bowler. I'm bowling. Yeah. Bowling's fun, isn't it? I love bowling. I miss bowling. I used to bowl all over the country. Well, one of the first associations I remember being a part of, other than the student council in grade school, was the Southwest Bowling Proprietors Association of America. And so those were all the bowling center owners, the bowling alley owners. When you say bowling alley, my mom would quickly correct me. It's a bowling center, Bruce. It's a family fun center. It's not a bowling alley. I'm like, it's a bowling alley. And so I became the president of the Southwest Bowling Proprietors Association. And I remember being president, to me at that time in my career, I felt my confidence go up. Anybody ever feel like your confidence goes up when like somebody wants to bring you in and all of a sudden they want you to be part of the leadership team, and now all of a sudden you kind of feel, hey, I'm doing something significant here. And then I moved to Dallas, Texas to be part of a relocation company, and I got involved in the North Texas Relocation Professionals Association. And then I became part of Dallas HR Association, like Beth mentioned. And I will just say that it's just literally changed the total trajectory of my entire career. As a matter of fact, I also serve on the board for Texas SHRM. I have my Texas SHRM socks on today. If you're wearing your association socks, you're all in. There's you an idea. Get you some socks. Get people to wear your socks. And so I'm super excited to be here today and to talk about some of these things. And so we will kick it off here. And I want to kind of set the story. There have been people that have pushed me into certain things. I say push. We can also use the word encouraged. I remember my boss when he encouraged me to be part of an association, Dallas HR in particular. I also remember being part of going to many different associations and not being all in. And I realized later I had to find which one worked for me. I had to find my tribe. So you're not going to be all things to all. Isn't that the truth? Right? But your people will come. And so one of the my boss, and then my brother has been, he also has been he's helped push me into different things. My wife has encouraged me and pushed me into different things. And so I want you to just think in your head, like, who's pushed me? Who's pushed me? Who do I think highly? Who do I want to thank for pushing me into being part of what I'm a part of today? There's somebody on your mind right now, and when you're done with this meeting, I want you to send them a text and just say, hey, thanks for that push. I'm better today because of that push. And so another guy that pushed me is a guy named Heitor DFWAE. He is a guy from Brazil. I hired him to be an operations manager. And so I want to share a story to kind of set this up, to kind of kick this off. And so I was hired many years ago to be an operations manager for a moving and storage company. I was excited. Oh my goodness, I got a raise. Oh my word. But I learned later there's a reason why I got that raise. The place was a mess. Like I went to this new company and I pulled back the curtain. You ever do that? You're like, hey, I'm excited. And you pull back the curtain. You're like, what is going on here? This is a mess. And I remember something Lou Holtz said one time. He said, people don't hire you because it's already good. They hire you to go fix it. And so I became an operations manager for a moving and storage company. And I was like, man, I need some help. I'm not going to be able to do this on my own. Anybody ever feel like that? You got to have people around you, don't you? So I went and got a guy that used to work with me. His name's Heitor. And we had a lot of quality issues. And so the first thing we said, I told Heitor, I said, Heitor, we got to train. We got to develop some people. And I said, so let's start with a training and development class. And I said, let's have something on Friday. And we talked about it. And I said, okay, let's set this up. He said, hey, don't worry about it. I'll get it all set up. 7 o'clock in the morning on Friday, you just walk in and do the training, Bruce. I said, okay, let's do it. So I walk in at 7 o'clock on Friday morning, and these chairs are all across the warehouse. There's about 30 chairs, and they all had a clipboard in the seat. They had a piece of paper. They had a pencil. They had a tape measure. Like he was like ready. And they all had a broom. Every chair had a broom in it. And I told Hator, I said, Hator, this is fantastic. I love this. But what's up with the broom? He said, Bruce, we've got to set the expectations. When our moving crews come into our warehouse, they need to know that they're expected to have these supplies. They need to have their uniforms on. They need to have their belts on. When they get in and out of our trucks, they need to keep the trucks clean. When they move our families, they need to make sure when that last piece of furniture is moved that they clean up all the trash. We've got to set the expectations. And so that's what I want to do with everybody here today is I want to set the expectations. Like you walked in today, you're like, hey, I hear we're having a motivational speaker. Rah, 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 let's go. Let's get fired up. Let's celebrate. It's New Year's. I love it. But what are the expectations? And so I'm going to share those with you today. The first and foremost thing is you're going to leave with ideas and connections. Who already has a new connection? Raise your hand. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm halfway there. I am halfway there. I love that. And then I'm going to talk to you about building a roadmap to where you want to go. And this will apply to everyone. This is good stuff. And then Beth put out some little sticky notes on the tables at the very end. We're going to activate. And this is going to be a lot of fun. Are y'all ready to go? Is this fun? Okay. So I mentioned having a podcast. And one of the cool things about having your own podcast is you get to pick your guests. And so I have this, and I don't know if you have this with your association, but with my podcasts, with my sales business, with a lot of things I do, I have my list and I have my wish list, or I call it my dream list. So in my podcast, I have all these people lined up to be on the podcast. Like there is a long line. I love it. I admire so many people, but I also have a dream list. And whenever I was talking to somebody one day, I let them know, I said, hey, it was a real lot of fun being on your podcast as a guest, but who are your dream guests coming up? And they were like, dream guests? What do you mean by that, Bruce? It's like who do you want on the show? Like somebody that's far reaching. And they said, well, we don't really have anybody. Who do you have, Bruce? And I said, well, let me just start right here. I'd like to have President George W. Bush on my podcast. Anybody has a connection, let me know. Troy Aikman. Played football against Troy Aikman in high school. Bob Stoops. I'm a big college football fan. I thought, oh, that'd be cool. And the lady right there stopped me and said, hey, I might be able to connect you with Bob Stoops. I said, what? I love that. And so Bob Stoops came onto my show, and it was a lot of fun interviewing him. And he's going to talk about something that I think everybody needs to hear. Because I think what is it about change? Everything changes, right? That's the one thing about change. Everything changes. And so Bob Stoops is going to talk about that. I'm going to play this clip real quick, and I want to talk about change real quick.
Anybody that's in a leadership or a managing position has got to look at the whole of it all. And how is it all working together? What can we do daily, weekly to improve it? And I think very few things in life stay the same. So also it may rock along and be good for a year or two, and then some things need to be tweaked or changed. And we never hesitated to do that. I know that in our program at times I change up the way we practiced. I change up from day to day. I went into one game before Tennessee at the beginning of the year and changed up our whole weekly practice routine. And the players thought I was crazy. And we won the game, and afterwards everybody liked it. They're like, I like this new routine. Our guys were just kind of bored with the old routine. We needed something fresh and new, and we weren't afraid to do it. If you're working hard, you'll make it work one way or another. But I think sometimes you can get stagnant if you don't look to improve.
Who agrees with that? Can you get stagnant? We can all get stagnant, can't we? What do you need to change up right now? There's something that you might need to change up. Years ago, I was the president of Dallas HR. And I remember we had a strategy guy on our board. And I remember at the end of every meeting, when I first started as president, at the end of every meeting, we'd give our reports around the table. And they would say, okay, Rick, you got 5 minutes. And here I was giving 5 minutes to one of the most important parts of the meeting. And so I quickly realized that that was not the way to do that. And so I moved our strategy guy to the front of the meeting. I changed it up. And all of a sudden, we started having bigger conversations. We started having more ideas, and things just started happening. What do you need to change in your organization, in your association? I want you to be thinking about that. Ask that question to the people on your team. Hey, what's one thing we need to change up? And of course, everybody will have ideas. You just got to figure out which one works best for you. And so if you want to listen to the podcast, you can certainly get the information, Life in the Leadership Lane. I think you'll really enjoy that. So what I want to talk about today is some ways to change it up. To change it up. And the first thing I want to talk about is when I wrote my last book. It's called Drive with Purpose. Move your career from success to significance. You see, early on, we're all looking for success, aren't we? And the thing about what I've found about success is this. If you don't define it, others will define it for you, won't they? Like if you don't define it, others will say, hey, I'm a sales guy. Hey, Bruce, you didn't hit your numbers. Bad year. Was it a bad year? I met some of the most amazing people. I was part of some of the most amazing events and initiatives. We started a leadership program. Just some amazing things have happened. And so you have to define it. I remember early on when I took my first job with that relocation company, my wife and I, man, we were so excited. I took the job for $30,000 a year. And I remember I'd get these raises during the process, and I became a department manager. And I told my wife, I said, honey, the day I make $50,000, we're celebrating. We're going out to dinner, okay? And I remember when I got that raise to $50,000, I was like, yes, success. We're there. Like my wife and I and 3 kids, $50,000, we're on top of the world. I took her to the Golden Corral. That's right. It was wonderful. I think kids ate free. It was fantastic. What happened a month later? I wanted more. That's what success does. You just keep wanting more, right? So what I want to do is I want to encourage you to define what success is, and then we're going to talk about what significance looks like. So here's what I want to do. I'm just going to give you a couple of minutes, and I just want you to turn to somebody next to you. And if you've defined success for your association, like one thing, like what's one thing that you've defined that's going to make it a successful year? Maybe it's membership growth, maybe it's engagement. It could be, maybe it's a new program, maybe new education, whatever that is. What's that one thing? And then I'm just going to give you 2 minutes real quick. It's going to be real quick. And then we're going to come back and hear from a couple of people. Go. I see a lot of engagement going on here. How's it going back here? Are we defining success? Okay, I'm going to go ahead and stop everybody just for a second. I want to ask, I have a book, not trying to bribe anybody. For the first volunteer, golly, I have 2 volunteers. Here's the first one that wants to share what defining success is to you, or what did you talk about at your table. Would you mind standing up? I want everybody to know who you are. You look fantastic today, by the way.
Thank you.
What is your name and what association are you with?
Mita Merritt. I'm with the American Fire Sprinkler Association.
Fantastic. Thank you for being here. Your energy is fantastic.
Awesome, and bribery always works as well.
So tell the group, like, what did y'all talk about? What have you defined success? Talk about that.
Well, actually, we decided on 2 things.
Okay.
One was membership growth and retention, which every association typically wants. We have good retention rate at our association.
Okay.
So I would say our other thing is ensuring that our staff know how impactful they are to the growth of the organization.
Yes, I love that. Thank you for sharing.
welcome.
Is it Mita?
Mita.
Mita, thank you. Let's give Mita a hand. Here's a book. Thank you. I love that. You know what I loved about that? She's talking about the people behind the scenes, staff, right? I was talking to Jose and Tito and the staff at the hotel earlier. Behind the scenes, those people are making it happen. You got to include them. Okay, so we have another volunteer here.
Yes.
Would you mind standing up and sharing
Yes.
your name and your association?
As it is all in the name, my name is Jody Foster.
Whoa!
We talked about
I love it.
success as being reconnection, and also within our business, we are pruning the tree. We are getting rid of some bad bushes and bringing in some new.
I love that. Thank you for sharing that, Jody Foster. You're not going to forget that name. I love that. I have a book for you as well.
Okay.
And I love that, pruning the tree. And you know, the thing about it is that doesn't just happen overnight, does it?
No, it does not.
Right? You have to define that, and you have to plan that, and you have to work through that process, don't you? That's wonderful. I love that. One more. Give me one more real quick. And by the way, I'm going to give you one of my Find Your Lane books.
Okay, thank you so much.
Anybody else want to share? I know I saw one more hand. You know what this is called over here at this table? Voluntold. You know, the pointing. I love that. Anybody want to share over here? I see pointing fingers. These are my neighbors, by the way. I live in Little Elm, Texas, and Frisco is right here. I love that. You want to share?
Sure.
By the way, I love that jacket. Don't y'all love this jacket? That's fantastic. Okay, share your name, who you're with, and talk about success.
Sure. Well, success can be defined as many things. Robert Sanchez, good morning, with the Westin Stonebriar Resort. You know, obviously with associations and volunteering is great, but for me, success is time. Finding the time to not only take care of our jobs that pay our bills, but be present at home and be able to take vacations and volunteer with our association. So time, for me, is success.
I love that. Thank you for sharing that. Give Robert a hand. That's fantastic. Thank you, Robert. Robert, I have a Life in the Leadership Lane book for you as well.
Oh, thanks, sir.
Father Time. That's what I'm going to think of when I see Robert. I'm like, Father Time's over here. He's in the house. Isn't that great? Don't you love learning from people? Like, that's the best. Like, that fuels me. I get so much out of that. And so I appreciate everybody sharing that. When I think about success, I think about all of these different things, but then I go beyond that. Like, but what about significance? You see, success is about really helping you get to where you need to go, but significance. That's really about helping others. And when I first realized that was years ago when I got a call from a friend. He said, hey, Bruce, see you're over at the Armstrong Company. You're moving people. I got a referral for you. Who doesn't love a referral? I'm like, this is great. Yeah, absolutely. He said, my banker needs some help. So my banker, I call his banker. He said, hey, Bruce, I'm not moving, but my mom's moving. And I like this a lot. It's very stressful. I said, well, what's going on? He said, well, she lives in assisted living. And she's moving closer to my sister. So I helped his mom from assisted living. I think she moved like a little, I went out and I met her and I coordinated her move. She had like a little, suitcase and a little vanity and a few things. It didn't pay a lot of money, but the reward for just working with her was phenomenal. And so I helped her move, and I remember the relief, what it did for the customer to help his mom move. And all of a sudden, I looked at my job totally different. I used to look at it as like moving boxes and helping people move their stuff. And then all of a sudden, I realized, man, you're moving people, you're moving hearts, and you're helping people getting settled in. And I call that hope. You're giving people hope, and that's what you do. Give people hope, because hope stands for helping other people every day. And that's what you do. You help people. I remember my very first visit to Dallas HR Association. I didn't know anybody. I was like, I don't even know if I fit in. And then I figured out the magic sauce was helping people. You figure that out, and good things will happen. And so I just want you to just encourage you. I want to share a quick story about this guy right here. His name's Captain Jeff. And this is one of those stories that I remember. I was flying to an association meeting in Austin, Texas. And I was late. And it was raining in Dallas, Texas. What happens when it's raining in Dallas, Texas on I-35? You see those red lights. And I was like, oh man, I'm stressed. I'm so stressed. I get to Love Field. I pull into the parking garage and I drive around. There's no parking. Second row, third row, there's no parking. I'm like, if there's no parking on the fourth row, I got to go to another garage and I know I'm going to miss my flight. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, whoa! A parking space opens, and I pull in, and I run to that elevator door, and I click that elevator door. Elevator door opens, and all of a sudden, this guy right here is standing in the elevator. Where are you flying to, son? I said, well, I'm going to Austin, Texas. He said, you're not on that 8 o'clock flight, are you? And I said, as a matter of fact, I am. He said, well, I'm Captain Jeff, and I'm going to be flying you today. And I'm like, this is not real. Like, you should be on the plane right now checking all your instruments. What are you doing in the Are you late too? I'm getting nervous. And so I go down the elevator. He tells me he's moved with the Armstrong Company. He tells me about all of his experiences. Then we get to the gate, and he goes through the pilot's entrance, and I go over here, and he said, hey, Bruce, when you get on that flight, tell him Captain Jeff told you to come on back, and I want to show you the cockpit area. Maybe we'll take some pictures. And I'm like, I don't think this guy's really a pilot. This guy is like dressed up. Something's happening here. And so he goes that way, and I go that way, and I get on board, and the stewardess is right here. So, hey, good morning. I'm like, getting ready to turn. I was going to mention something, and all of a sudden, hey, Bruce, come on back here. And I look, and Captain Jeff is in the pilot's seat with another pilot. Is this not wild? Like, you ever feel like those moments your energy just starts going up? You're just like, this is energizing. So I got in the cockpit, the other pilot got out. He said, Bruce, give me your phone. I'll take some pictures. And I'm sitting there going, boy, you talk about taking an ambassador to a higher level. That is ambassadorship. So I get done, and I'm walking back, and everybody's got their headphones on. Everybody's kind of quiet and doesn't want to talk. I'm like, I want to tell every single person what just happened. I'm like, you don't understand what's happening back here. We got some incredible pilots. Like, this is going to be phenomenal. But no, everybody's like, don't talk to me. And so I get on my flight. I tell this story all the time. Do you think he had to do that? No. I went back and I told my CEO, I said, hey, let's get all our customers in the moving trucks. He's like, Bruce, I don't think that's a good idea, Safety first, Bruce. But I was thinking, what if we did that? Like, what if we had ambassadors in our associations? When I walked in this hotel, first guy I met was Will. Hey, how you doing? Where can I take you to? And he shows me where to go. And then I met Talisha and her team. It's been phenomenal. Phenomenal. Ambassadorship. That can change an association. You think I want to fly with that company more? Oh, yeah, man. I'm still looking for Captain Jeff. He's disappeared. I don't know where he's at. I ask people all the time, hey, is Captain Jeff on this flight? I don't know who Captain Jeff is. I don't even know his last name. Just Captain Jeff. But I remember the moment. And that's what we need to focus on. Creating those moments. That is what I call significance. The second thing I want to talk about real quick is I want to talk about the importance of influence in your association. Who thinks influence is important? It's very important. It's very important. It's important in the workplace. It's important in your association. You know, when I think about that, I think about whether you're trying to influence an idea or you're trying to influence a change in your program. There are some strategies, because a lot of times we will say, hey, you know what, we've tried that, or I've tried to get them to do that. Yeah, anybody ever hear that? I've tried to get them to do that. But there are some strategies you can use to influence the process. Now, I do a full session only on this, but today I'm just going to give you just a snapshot. And this is what this looks like. The first and foremost thing is you got to build trust. Does trust take a long time to build? Yeah, a long time. It takes a long time to build. But you can build it by what? Just showing up every day, acting interested in people, helping people. You're building trust along the way. See, but a lot of times whenever we're trying to influence things, we try to skip that process. We try to go straight to the second thing is, and that's problem solving. Right? You gotta find, you gotta define the problem, and you gotta try to solve that problem. And a lot of times people will skip that step and say, hey, I'm here to fix your problem. And you're like, I don't even know you. And what makes you think that's our problem? Right? So you gotta find the right problem, as right here. So first thing you gotta do is build trust, define the problem. Second thing you gotta do is what? Or the third thing you got to do is, well, you got to build a business case, and this is where everybody gets stuck. Who's got time to build a business case? I got time for that. I got my kids at home. I got my work. I got all the stuff that I do. I have time to build a business case, but that's what everybody wants to see. They want to see the what? The data. The data will help influence things. If you bring the leadership team something that says, hey, we can increase our membership by 70%, who's going to listen to that? They're going to listen like, how are we going to do that? Let me show you the data. Hey, we're going to grow engagement. We're going to get more time out of our day or meetings or conference by doing this. You got to have the data. You got to build the business case. I do think it's going to be easier for us as we get into the world of AI. You agree with that? Hey, help me build a business case. Here's the 3 or 4 things, and boom, it points it out, and then you can shape it. You got to have the data. That will influence the process. If I go to my organization and I say, hey, I've got an idea, and this is going to help us improve our safety, people are going to listen. And so when we think about building trust, when we think about defining a problem, and by the way, defining a problem, when you think about a problem, it has to be surrounded by your organization's goals, their mission, their objectives. If you just say, hey, you know what, we got a problem with the parking lot or whatever the case may be, it may go in the parking lot. We'll talk about that later. But if it doesn't align with your mission, your vision, your goals, it's just not going to get any influence. Build trust, define the problem, build the business case. Then you got to find sponsors around the table to help you move that. I was interviewing a CEO one day, and I was talking to him about mentorship, and he said, mentorship's good, but sponsorship, that is what you want. I said, tell me more. He said, because when you're not in the room, sponsors can move your ideas where they need to go. They can get you the right people. They can get you the ideas that can move things forward. And so you want to make sure that you got sponsors with you along the way. And then last thing is you got to believe. You got to be persistent. You see, if you don't believe in the idea, people will know. And the idea will eventually fade away. But man, if you believe, if you really believe, you'll just stick with it. And one day, you'll have the influence. And so hopefully this right here will help you. But think about that. When you're thinking about influencing around the board room, have I built the trust? Have I defined are we talking about the right problems here? Have I brought the data, the business case? Do I have some people supporting it? And do I believe in it? And good things will happen. Is that helpful? Yes. Okay, good. All right, and so I want to share something also around influence that we don't talk about. So these are the strategies to move things forward. But we can also influence in another way. And what made me think about this was when I was at our national sales meeting and the chairman of the board got up to speak. His name's Big Tom. And when Big Tom gets up to speak, I'm taking notes. This guy is full of wisdom. And he said, hey, I just want to share some wisdom with everybody today that will help you become a better salesperson. And I'm thinking just in general, a better person. And he said, there's these 4 things that you all need to do. And I'm writing notes. And you know, there's some things that just stick. And he said, let me give these to you. And so I'm writing down. He said, first thing you got to do is you got to treat people. You got to use the golden rule. Treat people as you want to be treated. From the president to the person that sweeps the floor. I was like, well, you don't need a title for that, do you? We can all do that. Second thing is you got to make people around you better. You got to share your knowledge, share information, help people become better, be humble, have great humility. And I thought, man, that's pretty powerful. And then he said, you got to be generous. Big or small will change your life. Could be generous with your time, with your dollars, your resources. And then the last thing he said is you got to have good manners, because manners will take you places ability won't. And I thought, you don't have to be the president of your association or the director of programs or even on the board to influence, do you? I know many people that influence that don't have titles, that are very influential. So I don't want to miss that. I want people to know. And I always think about this. When I think about that, I think, well, how do I want to be remembered? That's how I try to approach everything. And so let's talk about, we talked about defining success. We talked about developing influence. We're going to talk about building a network, and then we're going to act. Networking. Is networking hard for you? Anybody hard for you? Raise your hand if it's hard. Yeah, I see some hands like going kind of up, like here. Hey, let me just tell you, the first time I walked into Dallas HR, I met a few people, and I wrote this in my book, Find Your Lane, so I share this story. The second time I came in, so they met every second Tuesday of every month back then at the DoubleTree Hotel. The second time I went in, I walked in that door, I looked at all those people that look like they know each other. Isn't that true? You walk into a networking event, they all know each other. And I walked right out that door. And I went and sat in my car for about 5 minutes, and I said, I don't know if I can do this. And I asked myself, okay, Bruce, you can either go back to the office or you can go in that room. You got a choice to make. And I went back in that room. And I'm so glad I did. And the thing, what I learned is a couple things. Number one is that everybody doesn't know each other. Most of the time they just met. You know, you walk into a group like, hey, Y'all know each other for a long time? No, we just met. Well, it looks like y'all are like best friends. Isn't that the truth? That's the way it is most of the time. So networking, but it's a big, big, big part of why people go to your groups. Because they want to what? Meet people. So you're providing a platform like no other. Do you ever think about that? Like how significant that is? Like how significant your work is, seriously. People come to you because they want, like you're giving them space to meet people. I don't know of anything more powerful than that. Because people want to, generally they want to connect, they just don't know anybody. Just like that time I went to that meeting and then I went back. I wanted to connect. And so you got to make sure that networking is a big part. And are you networking within your own organizations? You know, I remember early on with another association, all the board members sat at the one table, and then everybody else sat over here, and you could just feel. You could feel the division, not division, but just the separation. Like, oh, if I get on the board, I can sit at that table. And then there's other groups that I've been to where they have a board member at each table, like an ambassador. And they make you feel so welcome and ask you questions and make you feel valued. Who loves feeling valued? Yes, we all do. We all want to feel valued. And so as you're thinking about networking, I share a lot of things in my books about networking. I mean, I built my career on networking. And I think that we just have to make sure that we make that part of our everyday. The thing about networking is, a lot of people don't think about this. There's two things that I wanted to share today. And number one is, what I've learned about networking is this. Networking gives you a chance to see what good looks like and what not so good looks like. Isn't that the truth? Like good networkers, you pull from them, don't you? I want to do that. I want to wear what she's wearing. I like that coat over there. I like that sort. I want to show up like that. Number one, I want to show up with that energy. I've met some people today that have great energy. Great, like I can feel it. People, like it radiates. And so networking gives you a chance to see that and become more in that. And so that's very important. And number two is networking gives you a chance to kind of see what, consistency looks like and not consistency looks like. There's just so many, a lot of people just think about networking as, hey, I'm going to meet some people. I'm going to help them, whatever it is. I'm going to give them some resources. I'm going to connect with them. But there's so much more. In my book, I talk about quarterbacks learn from quarterbacks. Any football fans in here? There's a few. And I was watching a special one time, and it was Tom Brady talking. And of course, we all know Tom Brady is considered like one of the greatest of all time. And so I shared this story about quarterbacks learn from quarterbacks. And basically, Tom Brady was sharing that him and Peyton Manning used to secretly get together and work out. And he talked about how they would meet at this high school facility, and they'd tell these high school players, you tell anybody about this and we're gonna kick your butt. And they would work out. And Tom Brady kept talking about what he learned from Peyton Manning. As a matter of fact, he learned one play that he said he eventually used that play in the Super Bowl because he learned that from Peyton Manning. A certain way of blocking. And I thought, that's networking. Like you can learn from each other. Everybody here is learning from each other today. I love that. So you got to make sure networking is part of your everyday. When I talk about networking, we talked about Jodie Foster earlier, names, Bruce Wayne. I interviewed this guy right here on my podcast, and he talks also about the power of names. I just want to share this clip right here because I think if we've got to be doing this in our associations. This right here.
The easiest way to connect with somebody is intentionally knowing their name. And so every time I see you, I say, hey Bruce, or hey Susie, or hey Julie, not hey, you, well hey. And we're so foolish about this. We get so embarrassed. We get inside our head and go, I forgot that person's name, and what am I going to do? If people, HR people especially, go, hey, I'm sorry, I forgot who you are. I don't want to do that anymore. Tell me your name. When I go into pizzerias now, and we have 1,100 team members, and I honestly have never met them all, and probably never will, because they work different shifts and all kinds of things, or part-time schedules. And we wear name tags, and I still ask a person's name, even though they're wearing the name tag. Because when I walk in, I want to know, I met Diamond, who's a new host at one of our pizzerias last night, and she says, how many people would come in? She's doing her job. I said, I'm not going to let you see me at all. And she went, what's going on? And it threw her off base. I don't dress, I don't have all the rows of gear on anywhere. She doesn't know who I am. I said, hi, I'm Steve, I'm in the office. And she went, oh no. I went, no, it's cool. And then the manager's like, oh no, we like Steve, he's great. And what's funny is then I can go around and go, hey Justin, hey Dan, hey Kim, to everybody who was there. And Diamond sees that. The power of knowing people's names. There is no greater HR tool on the planet. And I write in the book, and this is from years of experience, if people aren't worth knowing their names, you shouldn't be in HR. Period.
Isn't that good? We got to know people's names. We got to use people's names. I love that. I love it when someone says, hey, Bruce, how you doing? Bruce. I went to a Dale Carnegie seminar one time. They said your name is the sweetest sound you'll ever hear. Isn't that cool? I love that. I want to skip to another part as we kind of wind down here. I want to talk about the importance of, anybody ever heard of the 100-0 rule? This is another area we get stuck on. A lot of times in our organizations, we think that, hey, you know, Joe's only doing 50%, or, you know, Brittany over here, she's only doing 40%. I'm doing most of the work around here. And a lot of times it really creates stress in our lives, doesn't it? Especially in volunteer organizations. And so I always tell people, hey, listen, if you will just apply the 100-0 rule, your life will absolutely transform as a volunteer leader, just as a person. And that is this: give 100% of the time and expect 0. You're like, whoa, what are you talking about, Bruce? Yep, just go serve. Do you every day. Just go serve people. You sleep good at night. I sleep so good. I'm like, I don't worry about who didn't do something. All of it will all work itself out. But you got to do that. And that's really operating with a gratitude mindset. And so this is the last clip I'm going to play, and then we're going to do the quick activate process. And the reason why I want to show this clip is because, well, number one, it's probably my favorite clip. And number two, I feel like when we operate in a gratitude mindset, our whole life changes. And so I'm going to share this real quick.
And I find that great leaders, they're grateful leaders. Isn't that true?
Yeah, I agree with you. And that's part of our kind of ethos at Limitless Minds. You know, we have a Slack channel on, our team has a Slack channel like many do.
Yeah.
And one of our kind of really requirements, and ultimately, obviously it's got flexibility to it, but everybody, once every day, you put in the morning or whenever you get a chance, what you're grateful for, right? So we have a little gratitude channel on our Slack, and so every single person on our team will put something they're grateful for, and then they'll kind of put like what they're up to today, you know what I mean, kind of what some of the tasks are. But before we start talking about tasks and things we got to get done, we start with what we're grateful. And it's really cool because as a leader of an organization, it gives me some insight into what's important to the people on my team, because usually what they're grateful for shows up, kind of surfaces what's really important to them, right? Sure. And then just allows me to kind of get that little peek behind the curtain on just, who our people are, right? And what drives them. But I think for the individual internally, I think gratitude is a really core a really core ingredient to mindset, right? You know, starting your day off with gratitude every day is a fantastic start to the day, right? That's like that workout. That's like that morning coffee, right? It's kind of daily hygiene, really, right? It's like brushing your teeth, like every day, maybe twice a day, right? Like brushing your teeth. You should take a second to express gratitude. It's really important.
Isn't that good? That's Russell Wilson's brother, the NFL football player. It's so good. That moved me that day. Let me ask you this. Does anybody start off your meetings with gratitude? I love that. Thank you. Maybe it's time. Thank you. I love that. Maybe it's time that we change it up. Start off with gratitude. Isn't that good? I love it. I also published a journal called Mile Markers, and I write in it every day. I've been doing that for over 10 years. And it just helps the mindset, being grateful. Isn't that good? Okay, so here's your career roadmap right here for your association. Focus on defining success. Make sure that you do that. What does success look like? A lot of times you see that by, hey, here's our goals for the year. Okay, well, that's success to us. Or maybe it's, hey, we retained more members this year because of the way we make people feel. That could also be part of that. It could be revenue. It could be, there's a lot of different things, but you have to define it. You notice today we had 3 different definitions. I guarantee you we would have 30 different ones if we asked everybody here. Everybody. Develop your influence in the workplace. Make sure that you're using that strategy that we talked about. And then network with intention. Be intentional. Use people's names. And then last thing I want to do is I want to use what I call ACT. This is going to be the close here. And that is, I learned something a long time ago that when you act on something, things change. Action changes things. That's what ACT is all about. So here's what I want to ask of you today. There are sticky notes in the middle of the table. I want everybody to pull one sticky note from the table, pass it around, and then I want you to write down what's that one thing that you heard today that you're going to act on. Maybe it's something you're already doing. Maybe it's something you need to do, whatever that is. And I'll go back to some of the things we talked about right here. What's that one thing? Do I need to define success? Do I need to really start pursuing significance? Do I need to develop my influence in the workplace? Do I need to lead with gratitude, the 100-0 rule? Do I need to network with intention? What is that I need to do to elevate our association and apply that in my life? You notice I didn't say write down 10 things. It's one thing, and then we're going to close by a couple of people sharing. I'll give you 1 minute. Go. How do we do? Did you all enjoy this today? Yes. Isn't this good? I've got 3 books that I'm going to give away to some volunteers that want to share their ACT. And so if you wrote down your ACT and you want to share that, I would love for you to raise your hand and let's share it with the group. I have one right here. We'll start. I love that. And if you don't mind, share your name, your association. You can stand up if you don't mind. Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Monica Benavides, and I'm the Assistant Director with Texas Municipal Clerks Association. The last go-round, my boss said that she was going to have to voluntold me, so I figured I'd volunteer myself this time. I chose Network with Intention because something that you said resonated, and I was one of the ones that was barely sticking my hand up. But it's more just from a place of I'm an introvert, and standing in front of people makes me uncomfortable, and I'm shy. But I have a great heart, and I'm super funny, and I'm a great listener. So I'm going to network with intention. Forward.
I love that. Let's give her a hand. Thank you so much. And I'm going to give you a book as well. And I will share that the day networking changed for me I remember going to meetings. It was about that's about my 6th meeting in. The day it changed was when I stopped talking about all the stuff that I did, and I started asking, "Hey, Lynn, now what do you do? Now, and started being curious and interested in that other person. And then what I would do is I would go back, and when I was on LinkedIn and I saw them, I wouldn't just poke a note. I would remember something they were interested in, and then I would send that to them. Maybe it's even a link. They said they liked hiking in Colorado. Oh, my son lives in Colorado, and I heard about this. Boom, and I sent that to them. Now all of a sudden you feel like there's a real connection there. So I know you're going to be great. Thank you so much for sharing that. That's fantastic. Who else wants to share? I love that. Let me go back and I have another volunteer. We have 2 more to go, and then we're going to close. Thank you so much. And I love the maroon. Would you mind standing up and sharing your name with the group and what association you're with?
I'm actually with the Hilton Garden Inn just up the road here in Allen.
This is fantastic, by the way. What a great experience.
Thank you.
Yes.
My name is Katie Lloyd.
Okay.
I'm the director of sales over there.
Okay.
And this is Jody Foster is my sales manager over there.
I love that. I love that.
We have been going through the pruning process over the last year.
Okay.
And so this year it's going to be the year of growth. And each morning we have a huddle.
Okay.
And for the whole hotel.
Huddle.
And so
Okay.
we decided that we are going to have a moment where we share a moment of gratitude in the mornings in our huddles. And so we'll implement that when we have our morning huddles with our entire staff.
I love that. Thank you for sharing. Let's give her a hand.
We both wrote the same thing. We both wrote the same
I love it. And I gave you a different book so y'all can trade books. When you read one, she can read one. This is all coming together. Can you feel it? I'm so grateful for that. That's fantastic. I want to share a quick story. And I'm part of Texas SHRM, as I mentioned, as well. I serve on the board. And our director is the CHRO for Kirby Lane Cafe. Her name's Roseanne Garza. And the one thing she brought in as the leader is appreciations, gratitude. And so every time we had a board meeting, at the end of every board, and by the way, some of those conversations were intense. But every single time after a meeting, she would say, I'm giving my appreciation, 5 minutes appreciations. It's not for everybody. You have to share one appreciation for somebody in the group. If you don't want to share, you don't have to. But at the end of every meeting, someone will share an appreciation. Hey, I appreciate the way Michelle showed up today and talked about the conference. I appreciate the way Mike talked about this or did this or something he did for the group. And what was interesting about that, every time we walked out, arm in arm. Like it was monumental. So I'm excited to see what's ahead for you guys. This is going to be so good. Oh my gosh. Okay, last one. Oh my goodness, I see my bowler back here. Come on now. I love it. Okay, share your name and what group you're with.
So I'm Casey Stratmeyer. I'm with Dominion Payroll, and so I do sales, human capital management for HR and payroll. Anyway, so we just coming off of our company's sales kickoff, spent 3 days together. I've already started putting some of my purpose, Drive with Purpose, in play. So kind of a little tip, I went and I knew there's like a lot of people that put a lot into our 3 days of training with my peers, and so I stuck 20 thank you cards in my briefcase, and at the end of the 3rd day, I wrote like 8 of them out, and before I left the office to head on the airplane, I dropped them off on the different desks for the people that I know put a lot of time and effort into training us, helping us, and leading us to having a successful 26. So another purpose that I have this year is Mita and I are going to meet. And
What?
And we keep saying we're going to. And I said before we leave today, we will put something on the calendar because I'm a great trainer in terms of my junior salespeople. I'm like, you need to do this. You need to be there. You need to do this. But then I don't do the do. So practice what you preach. That's my thing this year.
I love that. Casey, thank you so much. Give her a hand. Isn't that fantastic? Enjoy the book. I love that. I love the notes, by the way. I'm a big note writer, and I love that you do that. That's fantastic. Oh, my goodness, what a day. What a day. Are y'all ready for 2026? Are y'all ready? Okay, so let me see. Last one is right here. If you want more information, whether you want to connect on LinkedIn, you want to see any other resources, you can click that, copy that link tree right there, and let's connect. Let me know how your journey is going. Let me know how I can serve you in some way. I just want to say thank you again for the opportunity to come here, speak to the group, and I'm excited about your road ahead. I'm excited to watch you, whether you find your lane or you just accelerate. Just enjoy the journey. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you so much, Bruce.
You're welcome.
Excellent presentation. Give him another round of applause.
Woo! Thank you.
I am energized. How are y'all feeling? That was wonderful. Thank you again, Bruce. Thank you all for being here. I'm just messing with your presentation.
It's all good.
I need to shut it down a little bit. So